Next thing we need to do is look at this file, this zip file that should also be on the P drive or e-learning. It'll have a folder in it. You can just go ahead and copy that folder to your local drive or your flash drive. I'm going to copy mine to C temp, paste it there. Let me close this for a second. Open that up, open their lab4 directory, and you should see a file that says lab04.2.avi. That is a file we need to open. Open that file. That'll open up Visual Studio. Give it a second. And then on the right side, you'll see Solution, Lab4, My Project, and Form Grades. Double-click Form Grades, and you'll see the form that we've gone and created for you. The lab instructions talks about how you need to create all these things, but we've actually already created those for you. The 2 text boxes, the scroll bar, button, and 2 labels. And we've even set, if you go to the properties, right-click and go to the properties on one of these, you'll see that we have the names all set correctly as well. But this form currently doesn't do anything. There's no code behind it. If you press debug and ran this program, it would just come up with this screen and the button wouldn't do anything and the scroll bar wouldn't do anything. So we need to provide the code to actually make it do something. So come over here to formgrades.vb and go to view code. And that'll bring open the code window. So this application needs to store student names and grades in an array. Because we don't know how many students will be entered, we need to use a dynamic array. Because the values in the array will need to be in 2 different procedures, we must declare the variable inside the class of the form grades. So we need to make a form level variable because we're going to use this variable in 2 different functions, at least 2 different functions. So let's call this private because we're only using it with this form, and score is our name, and then we do open parentheses, close parentheses to indicate that it is an array, and then as string. So this is an array of strings. Next, we need to write code that adds, we need to create we've got our one-dimensional array, so the one-dimensional array, we need to write code that adds student name into the array. Right now we'll just work on the name, we'll work on the grade later. Right now just focus on the name. So when do we need to add the name? After we click the apply button. So let's go to the apply button, go to this first drop down box and go to command apply. And then come on the right side, these are all the methods related to this button. Go to click. Now it generates a subroutine for us for the button click function. So now all the code in here runs whenever the user presses the apply button. First thing we need to do is declare a static variable int number as an integer. So static int number as integer. And the reason we're doing a static variable is because the user is likely going to click the button more than once, and if it wasn't static, it would reset the number to 0 every time. We want to maintain the number, so the way we do that is by using the static indicator. The next thing we need to do is resize our score array to match the current number of students, because every time we click apply, we're adding a new student, so we need to update the size of the array to reflect that. So we can do that by doing redim, which is the word to indicate redimension or resizing our array. And then we'll say preserve, which says do not delete the array, not clear it out, just add another entry on the end. Don't delete anything we have in there. And then we'll just give it the array name, score, and then we tell it what our new size is. And our new size is int number, corresponding to the current number of students in our system. So then now that we've got our new size of our score array, let's store the student's name in our array. So score int number, being the current student, is equal to text student.text. So assign the current student's name to be from the text box, from our student text box. Next, we need to set our properties of our scroll bar. The first property we need to set is the maximum value, which tells VB how many numbers correspond to this scroll bar. How many entries are we scrolling between? So the number of entries corresponds to the number of students we have in it in this case. So int number. It's like when we redimension our array to a new number, this is sort of redimensioning our scroll bar into a new size. Next thing is the current value of our scroll bar. And what that does is it tells it which one to focus on. We don't want our scroll bar to be focused on a previous entry while we're entering a new entry. We want the scroll bar to be focused on the current new entry. So now we've finished everything for the scroll bar, and the last thing we need to do is say int number is equal to int number plus 1. And what that does is it increments the int number count, so our count of our students. So the first time it runs, there's 0 students, and remember, arrays start at 0. So score of 0 is our first student. We have 0 students, so there's no scrolling we need to do. And the next time, then it sets 0, int number is equal to 0 plus 1, so int number is now equal to 1, so the next time it goes through, it's 1, and then the next time it goes through is 2, and 3, and so on. So it provides us a count of how many students are in our array.